"I'm grown now, human," said the alien teen before vanishing, until she returned years later. Twin suns burned over the desert world of Kadesh 9, turning the sand into gold fire. The air shimmered with heat, and the smell of burnt metal hung heavy around the repair yard. There, under the glare of light and dust, Jace Mercer worked on his old freighter, the Wayfarer. Sweat ran down his neck as he wrestled with the ship's hyperdrive coil. The machine hissed like a wounded beast. He cursed softly, tossed the broken part aside, and reached for his wrench, only to find it missing. "Looking for this?" The voice was light, teasing. He turned. There she stood, Lyra Sale, the Elarin girl from next door. 16 years old, slender, with soft pink skin that glowed faintly in sunlight. Her long silver braid caught the desert wind, and her violet eyes shimmered like polished glass. The wrench floated beside her, held in midair by a faint blue shimmer. Elarin levitation. "Thanks," Jace muttered, taking it back. "Shouldn't you be at school?" Lyra crossed her arms, her face serious but proud. "Finished early. I passed my quantum navigation exam." "Good for you." Jace turned back to the ship, pretending not to notice her standing closer. "I like watching you work," she said softly. "Human engineering feels so alive." He chuckled. "Alive? It's just stubborn parts and sweat." Lyra smiled. "Still better than sitting in class all day." She walked around the Wayfarer, tracing a finger across its hull. "You've been here 2 months, and you've already fixed half the junkyard." "That's because everything here is junk," Jace replied. He tried to focus, but she kept talking, her voice bright, curious, a little too confident for her age. "I've read about humans. You left your home planet when you were 16, right?" "Yeah," he said quietly. "And I almost died doing it." Lyra frowned. "But you saw the stars. That's worth it." He paused, staring into the horizon. The twin suns were dipping low, painting the sky in orange and violet. Stars aren't as kind as they look. Space doesn't care if you're brave. It just waits to swallow you whole. For a moment, she was silent. Then she whispered, "Maybe, but I still want to go." "You're just a kid, Lyra." "I'm not," she blurted, cheeks flushing. "By Elarin law, I'm nearly an adult." Jace smiled faintly. "By human law, you've got 2 years left. And on this planet, human law rules." Her eyes flashed, full of quiet fire. 2 years isn't long. You left when you were younger than me." He sighed. "And I've got the scars to prove it." She stepped closer, her perfume faint, like flowers blooming after rain. "When I'm older," she said, her voice trembling, "you'll take me with you. You'll show me the galaxy. Promise." Jace looked at her for a long moment. The setting suns caught her hair, making it glow like molten silver. He knew the right answer was no. But something in her determination, her belief, made him smile. "When you're older," he said softly. "If you still want to go, I'll take you." Her face lit up. "Promise. Promise." She giggled, almost relieved. Then, before he could react, she leaned forward and pressed a quick kiss on his cheek. Jace froze. By the time he blinked, she was running back toward her home, her braids streaming behind her like a comet's tail. He touched his cheek and shook his head with a small, helpless laugh. "That girl's going to be trouble someday." The Wayfarer groaned as he started the engine test, blue light flickering under the hull. The hum of power filled the air, but his mind stayed elsewhere, on a silver-haired girl who dreamed of stars and didn't know how dangerous they could be. Above them, the sky deepened into indigo. 2 moons rose, pale and watchful. Far beyond them, somewhere in the dark, empires schemed, and the Combine fleet moved its cold machines across the void. But here, for one fleeting evening, in a dusty yard under twin suns, a promise had been made. A promise that would change not just 2 lives, but the course of worlds. 7 years passed like wind across the dunes of Kadesh 9. The desert hadn't changed, but Jace Mercer had. His hair was streaked with silver now, his jaw harder, his eyes quieter. The Wayfarer limped through the thin atmosphere, engines wheezing after another job gone wrong. "Come on, girl," Jace muttered to his ship as he guided it down. The landing pads shimmered in the heat, the same dusty home he had sworn he'd never see again. The Wayfarer settled with a hiss, her hull scarred and scorched from plasma fire. Jace stepped out into the blistering sun, stretching his arms and wincing as his back popped. The smell of sand and oil hit him like memory. His stepfather's yard was almost empty, Just a few rusting drones and broken skiffs scattered around. Guess the old man finally retired, he said to himself, kicking a bolt out of the dirt. Then a voice behind him, calm, melodic, and impossibly familiar. Your technique's improved, but you're still putting too much strain on your lower back. Jace froze. He turned, and the wrench in his hand almost slipped. She stood in the sunlight, tall and poised, her silvery hair cascading over one shoulder. Lyra Sale, but not the girl he remembered. The playful teen was gone. In her place was a woman with confidence in every step. Her violet eyes were the same, though sharp, bright, and full of secrets. Lyra, he breathed. You remember. She smiled, that same teasing edge hidden beneath new grace. I'd have to be brain dead to forget. Jace ran a hand through his hair. You look different. 7 years will do that, she said, stepping closer. And you? You look exactly the same, just a bit more metal and scars. He laughed quietly. Occupational hazard. Lyra's eyes scanned the Wayfarer's damaged hull. Combined patrol? Yeah. Tried to stop me from delivering vaccines to a blockade colony. Guess they don't like humans helping anyone who can't pay. Her smile faded. You haven't changed at all, have you? Jace shrugged. Guess not. Someone's got to do the right thing, even if it's illegal. There was a pause, long and heavy. The desert wind whispered between them. Then she said, I didn't just come back to see the old compound, Jace. I came back for you. He blinked. For me. I run a courier ship now. Starwind. It's faster than yours. Her lips curved slightly, but not as tough. Smuggler, he asked, smirking. Specialized logistics, she shot back, echoing his old words from years ago. He couldn't help laughing. You even stole my lines. Lyra took another step closer. The scent of cool metal and desert blooms surrounded her. I've been running independent contracts between neutral worlds. But there's something big happening in the Noxus sector. The Combine is testing something that kills non-humans fast and leaves humans untouched. A bioweapon. Jace frowned, every muscle in his body tensing. You sure? She nodded. I have proof. And I have a counteragent. But I can't move it through combined patrol space alone. So you want me to help? He said slowly. I want us to finish what you started, she said softly. You once said space was cold and merciless. Maybe. But maybe it's waiting for people like us to make it warmer. The suns dipped behind the horizon, flooding the yard with red-gold light. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Jace exhaled. You know this could get us both killed, right? Lyra smiled faintly. When has that ever stopped humans? That made him laugh again, really laugh, for the first time in months. Fine. One job. After that, we're even. She tilted her head, her silver braids swaying. Even for what? For that kiss, he said, before he could stop himself. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Then I guess you owe me another one someday. She turned toward the desert road, where her sleek black ship waited under the twin moons. Jace watched her go, a strange pull in his chest, a mix of danger, memory, and something dangerously close to hope. The stars above shimmered like witnesses. He looked up at them, squinting. Trouble's back, he muttered with a crooked smile. And she brought a war with her. He grabbed his gear, locked the Wayfarer's hatch, and followed the woman who once dreamed of the stars. Not knowing that this time, the stars were dreaming of them both. The Starwind hummed quietly as it slipped through the dark edge of the Noxus sector. Outside the viewport, the stars glimmered like scattered embers, and a faint red haze from the nearby nebula painted everything in ghost light. Jace Mercer sat in the pilot's chair, one hand steady on the controls, the other tapping at the NAV screen. Across from him, Lyra Sale worked her console with quiet focus. Her silvery braid was tied up now, her posture calm, but her violet eyes sharp and alert. Stealth field's holding, she murmured. But if we stay cloaked too long, it'll drain the power cells. Then let's hope this counteragent is worth the risk, Jace replied, his tone dry. Lyra didn't look up. You don't have to do this, you know. Jace smirked. And let you play hero alone? Not my style. She smiled faintly. Still stubborn. Their target was a small Combine medical outpost orbiting the icy moon of Noxus Prime. The Combine used it to test new defense serums, their polite word for biological weapons. Hidden in Starwind's cargo hold was the cure, a glowing blue vial capable of stopping the spread of the virus wiping out entire alien colonies. Jace checked the radar again. No movement. Only static and distant signals. Too quiet. Something's off, he said. Lyra frowned. You think it's a trap? I think it's the Combine. They don't forget faces. Still, they pressed on. The Starwind eased into orbit, silent as a whisper. Jace locked the controls and turned to Lyra. You ready? She clipped her blaster to her belt and met his gaze. I've been ready for 7 years. They moved through the narrow corridors of the outpost, their boots echoing softly. The place felt abandoned, but Jace could sense the hum of hidden power systems. Lyra led him through dimly lit halls until they reached the central lab. This is it, she whispered, accessing a console. Her long fingers danced across glowing keys. A soft hiss echoed as a containment unit unlocked. Rows of storage tubes glowed faintly, filled with liquid light. She loaded the vials into her case with precision. Once these are out, Noxus will survive. Jace watched her, proud despite himself. You really did it, he said quietly. You became what you wanted to be. Lyra looked up, a flash of warmth in her eyes. And you still think space is cold? He smiled. Less so now. A sharp alarm cut through their moment. Red lights flashed. Jace spun toward the door. We're not alone. Lyra's console flickered. Combined patrol, 3 ships inbound. They knew we'd come, Jace said. We need to move. Now. They sprinted down the corridor, the walls shaking as distant impacts rattled the outpost. The Starwind's comm crackled to life. Unidentified vessel. A cold synthetic voice announced. You are in restricted airspace. Power down immediately. Jace didn't answer. He grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her into the ship. The hatch sealed with a hiss as he jumped into the pilot's seat. Hold on. Laser fire streaked past the canopy as they lifted off. The stars turned red, then white as Jace threw the ship into a steep climb. 3 on our tail. Lyra shouted. I see them. He yanked the thrusters, diving toward the planet's shadow. The ship jolted violently as plasma bolts skimmed the hull. The alarm screamed. Shields down to 60%. Rerouting auxiliary. Lyra said, fingers flying over the console. Jace grinned despite the chaos. Still think this is more fun than school. She shot him a look. I'm regretting my education right now. He flipped a switch, and the Starwind spun hard, releasing a cloud of decoy flares. 2 patrol ships veered off course, but one stayed locked. Persistent little parasite, Jace muttered. Lyra leaned forward. The nebula. He blinked. You're insane. She smiled. Learned from the best. He punched the controls. The Starwind plunged into the swirling red storm. Lightning arced through the gas clouds. Magnetic fields tore at their sensors. The pursuing ship hesitated, then vanished from radar. Silence. Only the hum of strained engines and the sound of their breathing. Lyra exhaled slowly, shoulders relaxing. We made it. For now, Jace said, scanning the instruments. But we need a place to hide. Somewhere the Combine won't look. Lyra's gaze drifted to the far edge of the map, a cluster of dead worlds marked as abandoned mining zone. There, she said softly. The old Varela Belt. No one goes there anymore. Jace looked at her, then at the empty stars ahead. Perfect, he said. He set the coordinates, and the Starwind leapt forward into the void. Behind them, the Combine scanners swept the nebula again, finding only echoes, as if the ship had dissolved into dust. But deep within the storm, 2 humans, one from Earth, one not, had just changed the balance of a galaxy without realizing it. And neither knew that something inside that blue vial was about to change them, too. The Varela Belt hung like a graveyard in space, a drifting field of broken asteroids, shattered mining rigs, and silent stations that once pulsed with life. The Starwind drifted through the debris, its hull scarred, its engines faintly glowing like a wounded animal seeking shelter. Jace Mercer had seen a lot of ghost places in his life, but this one felt different. There was something watchful in the silence. Something waiting. Gravity's signature ahead, Lyra murmured from the co-pilot's chair. Her voice sounded tired, stretched thin. Old combined mining base, Type 9. Still has power. Could be a trap, Jace warned. Or it could be our only chance to repair, she said, her tone calm, but her skin pale under the soft blue lights. He glanced sideways. You okay? She nodded too quickly. Just tired. He didn't believe her. The glow in her eyes had dimmed since the escape from Noxus. She moved slower, her words occasionally slurring. But she brushed off every concern. It's just adrenaline crash, she'd said. The Starwind docked with a hollow clang. The docking clamps sealed with a hiss. Lights flickered through the corridor like the heartbeat of something half dead. Stay close, Jace said, slinging his rifle over his shoulder. Lyra smirked faintly. You think I'm letting you play hero alone? They stepped inside. The air smelled of metal and dust. Faded combined banners hung like ghosts from the ceiling. The gravity was patchy. Every few steps, their boots lifted off the floor before clamping down again. Jace's flashlight swept across long-abandoned control panels and shattered screens. A faded slogan read, "Prosperity through extraction." He muttered, "Yeah, that worked out great." A low hum came from deeper inside the station. It wasn't the sound of decay, it was current. Power. "Someone's still here," Lyra whispered. They followed the sound to a sealed bulkhead door. It slid open before they could touch it. Light spilled out, revealing a figure in a white coat standing behind a row of glowing consoles. "Identify yourselves," the woman barked. Her voice echoed against the metal walls. She was human, maybe in her 50s, sharp eyes behind cracked lenses. Jace raised his hand slightly. "We're not combined. Our ship's damaged. We need help." The woman studied them for a long moment, then relaxed slightly. "I'm Dr. Renmora, and you're trespassing in a restricted research facility." "Research?" Lyra asked softly. "This place was a mine." "Was," Dr. Morris said, "until the Combine decided rocks weren't profitable enough. Now we study what the mines left behind, the biology trapped in their tunnels." Another figure stepped out of the shadows, an older man with calm eyes and a silver beard. "Dr. Helvig Train," he introduced himself. "You look like you've had a rough time. We can offer air and water, but not much more." Lyra swayed slightly. Jace caught her before she fell. "She's burning up," he said urgently. The scientists exchanged a sharp look. "Bring her," Dr. Morris said. "Now." They carried Lyra to a narrow infirmary, the kind built for emergencies, not care. Machines hummed to life, scanners flickering across her skin. "What's wrong with her?" Jace asked. Dr. Mora frowned at the readings. "Elevated neural activity, unstable cellular integration." In English, Jace snapped. The older man looked up from his monitor. "Her body is rejecting something, or changing into something new." Jace's throat tightened. "We escaped Noxus. There was a weapon there. We handled a counteragent." Dr. Mora froze mid-scan. "Counteragent? Blue luminescent serum." "Yeah," Jace said. "Why?" She looked up, eyes wide. "Because it wasn't just medicine. It was adaptive. It rewrites genetic code to mirror compatible species. It could have bonded your DNA." Lyra stirred on the bed, her voice weak. "Bonded to what?" Dr. Mora hesitated. "To the human genome." Jace stared at her, stunned. "You're saying?" "Yes," Dr. Mora said grimly. "That formula made temporary cross-species integration possible. If you shared physical contact after exposure." Jace blinked. "We were both exposed." "We?" He stopped himself, glancing at Lyra. Dr. Train sighed heavily. "Then it's already begun." Lyra tried to sit up, trembling. "What's happening to me?" "Your body is trying to merge two blueprints," Dr. Mora explained softly. "Elarin and human. It doesn't know which one to choose." The words hung in the air like frost. Jace knelt beside her bed, gripping her hand. "You'll be okay. We'll fix this." Lyra's violet eyes shimmered with fever, but she smiled faintly. "You always say that, Jace." For the first time in years, he didn't have an answer. The hum of the machines filled the silence. Dr. Mora turned to her partner. "If my calculations are right, her condition will accelerate. We'll need to run more tests." Jace's jaw clenched. "She's not your experiment." "Then help us save her," Dr. Mora shot back. "Because if we don't act soon, her body won't survive the change." Outside, the stars shifted. A faint signal pulsed on the far edge of the system. A combined patrol, searching, scanning. They hadn't found them yet. But the clock had started ticking. And deep inside Lyra's bloodstream, something impossible was waking up. Something that would soon make her more than human, and less than either world could understand. The storm outside the station never touched the vacuum, but Jace felt it anyway, a silent pressure growing in his chest, a tightening that had nothing to do with gravity. Inside the medical chamber, the hum of machines had become the new heartbeat of the Starwind's crew. Lyra Sale lay beneath a glowing field, her skin glistening with fever. Her veins pulsed faintly with a strange blue light that chased beneath her skin like liquid lightning. Dr. Renmora monitored the data streams, her eyes moving between alien readouts. Her system is rewriting itself, she muttered. It's not random. It's intelligent. Dr. Helvig Train adjusted a scanner, frowning deeply. If I didn't know better, I'd say the serum's adapting her genome in real time. That's not medicine. That's evolution. Jace paced behind them like a caged predator. You said you could help her. We are helping her, Dr. Morris said sharply. But you need to understand, this isn't a sickness. It's a transformation. Jace stopped. You mean she's becoming something new? Mora interrupted softly. Something neither human nor Elarin. The serum was never meant to just cure. It was designed to link species, to create compatibility where nature didn't. Lyra stirred, her breathing shallow. Jace knelt beside her, brushing sweat from her brow. Her eyes fluttered open, those violet eyes now glowing faintly, brighter than before. Jace, she whispered, you shouldn't be here. I'm not leaving you, he said firmly. She smiled weakly. That's the problem with humans, you love too hard. The lights flickered. A siren blared through the old mining base. Dr. Train's console erupted in red alerts. Incoming signal. Combined patrol vessel entering orbit. Jace's head snapped toward the viewport. Outside, distant thruster flares cut across the black. They found us. Dr. Mora cursed under her breath. How? We scrubbed all emissions. Maybe they were already tracking the serum, Jace growled. They'd never let something like that go missing. He grabbed his jacket and weapon, adrenaline burning through exhaustion. Mora stepped in front of him. What are you doing? Buying you time. She shook her head. If they scan your ship, it's over. Then I'll make sure they're too busy scanning something else. Lyra tried to sit up, wincing. No. Jace, wait. He turned to her, forcing a grin he didn't feel. Don't worry, Stargirl. You've got the easy job. Just survive. Her hand caught his wrist, weak but insistent. Promise me you won't fight them alone. I'll try not to, he said, lying. He kissed her forehead and was gone. The docking bay echoed with the clang of boots and the roar of engines. The Wayfarer powered up, its thrusters coughing fire. Jace strapped in, eyes scanning the black horizon. The Combine destroyer glinted far above, its shape like a blade of glass. Let's dance, he muttered. The Wayfarer burst from the asteroid shadow, engines screaming. The patrol ship locked on immediately, firing plasma bolts that split the dark. Jace rolled the ship hard, diving between rock fragments. Chunks of ore exploded in blue bursts behind him. Inside the base, alarms screamed louder. Dr. Mora and Train scrambled to move Lyra to the lower bay. But the young woman was no longer unconscious. She stood shakily, the glow beneath her skin brighter now, her voice steady and clear. Stop hiding me, she said quietly. Dr. Mora froze. You need rest. What I need, Lyra said, is to finish what we started. She stepped toward the viewport. Through it, she saw Jace's ship weaving between blasts, impossibly small against the void. Something deep within her, something not entirely her own, answered the sight with pure energy. Her fingertips glowed. The machines around her pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. For a second, her veins lit up like starlines. What are you doing? Dr. Train whispered. Lyra's voice was calm. Listening. She closed her eyes. The hum of the station changed pitch, aligning with her pulse. Then, suddenly, the weapon batteries on the outer hull came online. Systems long dead roaring back to life. Outside, the Combine destroyer hesitated as dormant turrets turned and fired. Energy beams lanced across the void, striking the enemy hull. Jace blinked at the sight. Well, that's new. Lyra's voice came faintly over the comms. You're not alone, Jace. I said I'd learn your kind of engineering. He laughed, half relief, half disbelief, and swung the Wayfarer alongside the crippled destroyer. Let's finish it together. The combined assault tore through the Combine ship's defenses. Within minutes, its engines failed, spiraling down into the asteroid field in a burst of flame. Silence returned. The wreck drifted away, glowing faintly in the distance. Jace guided the Wayfarer back to the station, landing rough. He ran inside and found Lyra standing by the control panel, light fading from her hands. She looked exhausted but alive. You just controlled the whole defense grid, he said, amazed. I didn't control it, she corrected softly. It responded to me. Dr. Mora approached slowly. Her cells are producing energy signatures we've never seen. She's evolving, Jace, consciously. Lyra met his eyes. I think. I can feel everything. The metal, the power lines, even the stars humming. Jace stared at her, caught between awe and fear. What are you becoming? Lyra smiled faintly. Maybe the bridge between what we were and what we need to be. Outside the viewport, the broken pieces of the Combine ship drifted silently through the void, and far away, unseen, a signal beacon blinked alive in the wreckage, transmitting coordinates across the stars. They hadn't escaped. They had only begun the next chase. The combined ship's wreck still burned like a second sun across the void, its dying embers reflecting off the shattered hull of the old mining station. For a few precious moments, there was silence, deep, heavy, and unreal. But Jace Mercer had lived too long in the galaxy to mistake silence for safety. They'll come looking, he said quietly, watching the drifting debris from the control deck. When one of their ships goes dark, they send 10 to find out why. Behind him, Lyra Sale leaned against a console, her skin pale but pulsing with that faint blue glow that refused to fade. Then we should be gone before they arrive. Her voice was calm, steady, but her reflection in the glass looked almost otherworldly. Her eyes glimmered with shifting hues, violet bleeding into silver, silver flickering with energy like starlight alive inside her veins. Dr. Renmora shook her head from the medical bay doorway. You shouldn't even be standing. Your vitals are fluctuating every minute. Your body isn't done changing. Lyra gave a faint smile. I don't think it's something that ends, Doctor. Dr. Helvig Train turned from a bank of monitors. The transformation isn't random. Her neural patterns are expanding, new connections, new frequencies. It's as if her mind's learning to communicate beyond normal bandwidths. Jace frowned. You're saying she can talk to ships? Not just ships, Train replied softly. Systems. Energy grids. Maybe the space around her. Lyra crossed her arms. So I'm a walking transmitter now? Mora looked uneasy. Or something far more dangerous if the Combine gets their hands on you. Jace turned toward her, his voice hard. Then we don't let that happen. He glanced at the map on the hollow display. We'll take the Wayfarer and head for the jump gate near the Tyran Rift. It's unstable but off the Combine charts. Once we cross it, we can vanish. Train sighed. You'll never make it in time. They've already detected the beacon from the wreck. Their fleet will arrive within hours. Then we make those hours count, Jace said, moving to prep the ship. As he left, Lyra followed, her steps light despite the exhaustion in her face. The Wayfarer waited in the hangar, patched with temporary armor, its hull still scarred from the battle. Jace ran his hand along its side. You ready to fly again, old girl? She's more than ready, Lyra said quietly. When Jace looked up, he froze. The air around her shimmered faintly, soft ripples of light bending with her breath. The Wayfarer's systems flickered, then purred to life without a single button pressed. Jace stared. Did you just? I didn't mean to, she said quickly, stepping back. It just happened. Mora's voice crackled over the comms. She's syncing with the ship, Jace. You might be able to use that connection to navigate the rift. Or tear the ship apart, Jace muttered. We'll take the first option. They launched. The asteroid field fell away behind them, the station's lights dimming until it vanished into black. Lyra sat beside him, her fingers brushing the controls, though she didn't need to. The Wayfarer responded to her thoughts like it could feel them. You're sure you can handle this? Jace asked. She looked out at the stars. I don't have a choice anymore. This is part of me now. Hours passed. Then, the sensors screamed. Combine interceptors, Jace growled. 3 of them, coming in hot. They're faster, Lyra said, already reaching for the NAV systems. We can't outrun them. No, Jace agreed, but we can outthink them. He dove the ship toward the Tyran Rift, a swirling wall of ion storms and warped gravity, a graveyard for pilots too bold or too desperate. The rift looked alive, its storm arcs glowing like veins of white lightning across an endless black sea. Lyra's breath hitched. You're insane. Maybe, Jace said, grinning. But they'll never follow us in there. The Wayfarer entered the storm. Gravity twisted, space bent. Alarms howled. One of the combined ships tried to pursue, and was torn apart within seconds by gravitational shear. But inside the storm, the Wayfarer began to falter. Systems blinked out. The hull screamed. The controls sparked under Jace's hands. "We're losing her," he shouted. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, her voice steady. "Then let me drive." Before he could answer, she reached out, not with her hands, but with something unseen. The ship's metal responded, reshaping its energy patterns to her pulse. The violent shudder eased. The storm's roars softened to a low hum. Jace looked around in stunned silence. "You're steering the rift." Lyra didn't open her eyes. "No, I'm listening to it." Outside the viewport, the chaos seemed to part, forming a path, a corridor of calm through madness. The Wayfarer followed the line, glowing faintly blue in the storm's light. For a moment, it was beautiful. Two beings, human and something more, guiding a dying ship through a cosmic hurricane. Then Lyra gasped, her glow flickering. "It's too much," she whispered. "I can't hold it." Jace caught her hand. "Yes, you can. You're not alone. Remember?" The storm screamed one last time, then broke. The Wayfarer burst out of the rift, emerging into a sky of stars so dense it looked like a sea of fire. Silence followed, pure and endless. Jace looked at Lyra, unconscious but breathing. Her glow dimmed, soft and steady like the pulse of a newborn star. He exhaled shakily, looking out at the stars they'd survived to see. "You did it," he whispered. "You really did it." Behind them, the rift sealed shut, hiding the wreckage and the combined ships that dared to follow. Ahead lay freedom, or something close enough to fight for. And as the Wayfarer drifted through the glittering dark, a faint pulse echoed in its core, not mechanical, not electrical, but alive. Lyra's heartbeat and the ship's engines had become one. The Wayfarer drifted in silence. Stars shimmered outside like a sea of frozen fire, and beyond the viewport stretched a place no chart had ever named. The Tyran rift was gone, sealed behind them, leaving only quiet, the kind that made the universe feel infinite. Inside the ship, Jace Mercer sat beside the medical berth, his calloused hand wrapped around Lyra's sails. The faint glow under her skin had faded, replaced by a calm rhythm. Human heartbeat steady, Elarin pulse harmonized beside it. She was alive. Against every rule of science, logic, and law, she was alive. When her eyes fluttered open, he exhaled the breath he'd been holding for hours. "Hey there, Stargirl." Lyra blinked at the dim lights. "We made it." Jace smiled. Through the rift and halfway to nowhere. She pushed herself up slowly, looking around. "It feels different here. Like the stars are quieter." He nodded. "We're outside Combine reach. At least for now." Lyra gazed at the swirling light through the viewport, soft ribbons of blue and violet dust spiraling through space like a dream. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It feels alive." "Maybe it's just you," Jace said quietly. Dr. Renmora's voice came through the comms from the lab deck. "Captain, you might want to see this." Jace helped Lyra to her feet, and together they moved down the corridor. The ship's hum changed with every step, like it recognized them, responding to Lyra's presence. In the lab, Mora and Dr. Helvig Train stood before the holoscreen. A projection hovered in the air, Lyra's scans, glowing in pale gold lines. "This shouldn't be possible," Train murmured. "Her cells aren't just stabilized. They've integrated both genetic codes completely. Human and Elarin. Perfectly balanced." Lyra looked between them. "So I'm not dying?" Mora shook her head slowly. "No. You're evolving. The serum adapted through you, rewriting both species to coexist. You're something entirely new now." Jace frowned. "New how?" Train hesitated, then enlarged the scan. "You're generating a new kind of energy, self-sustaining, bioreactive, symbiotic with machine frequencies. You're bonded to the ship's systems, to him, even to the rift's residual field." Lyra's voice was a whisper. "I can feel it. The hum. The metal. The stars, they're like threads I can touch." Jace stepped closer, his voice low but steady. "Then maybe this isn't just survival, Lyra. Maybe it's the start of something bigger." Mora's face turned serious. "The Combine will never stop looking. Their sensors will pick up that energy sooner or later." Jace crossed his arms. "Then we keep moving. Stay ahead." Train glanced up from the monitor. "To where?" "You're in uncharted space." Jace smiled faintly. "That's the point." Lyra placed her hand on the glass viewport, watching the distant starlight shimmer. "When I was a child, I thought stars were fixed, that they stayed where they were born. And now?" Jace asked. Now I think they move, she said softly. They just move too slowly for us to see. Silence settled between them, not cold, but full of quiet meaning. Then the ship gave a low chime, a soft, almost musical tone. Jace frowned. That wasn't me. Lyra tilted her head. It's not the ship. Mora's eyes widened at her console. It's you. The scans, they're showing 2 heartbeats, not 1. Lyra turned to her, confused. What do you mean? Train's voice dropped to a whisper. She's pregnant. The world seemed to stop. Jace stared at her, speechless. That's impossible. Mora smiled faintly, tears welling in her tired eyes. Everything about her is impossible. Lyra touched her stomach in stunned silence. But how? The same adaptive serum that bonded your DNA could have allowed conception, Mora explained. You and Jace share the same hybrid pattern now. It's unprecedented. For a long moment, no one spoke. Only the hum of the ship filled the room, soft, alive, almost protective. Finally, Jace stepped closer and took her hands. Then the galaxy just got a new reason to be afraid. Lyra laughed quietly, the sound fragile and bright. Or a new reason to hope. Outside, the starlight flared brighter, as if the universe itself was listening. Jace looked out the viewport, his reflection beside hers. We'll find a place, he said softly. A world where the Combine can't reach us. Where he, or she, can grow up free. Lyra leaned her head against his shoulder, watching the stars slide by. You once promised to show me the galaxy. And I will, he said. But this time, we do it together, as a family. Far behind them, deep within the rift's collapsing energy, a faint signal pulsed. Combine encryption. Project, hybrid return, active. The chase wasn't over. The war hadn't ended. But in the quiet of that nameless sector, aboard a ship bound for nowhere, a human and an Elarin had done what no empire could. They had rewritten evolution itself. Lyra's hand rested on her stomach. The faint glow beneath her palm pulsed once, like a heartbeat echoing through time. A new beginning. A new species. A bridge between worlds. And for the first time, as the Wayfarer sailed into the deep unknown, Jace Mercer believed that maybe, just maybe, humanity's greatest story was only beginning.